History cannot give us program for the future, but it can give us future understanding of ourselves and of our common humanity, so that we can better face the future. That was the quote by Robert Penn Warren, which is clearly stated the fact that history can help us to know more about ourselves. And also, it is important to know the effect of the history in the humanity. Good day everyone, I'm Ashley Jan M. Balyenas, and I'm going to discuss history. What is history? It is a continuous and a systematic narrative past events as relating to a particular people, country, period, etc. Usually written as a chronological account, chronicle or records. It studies the past and the legacies of the past in the present. In the other word, history is the study of life in society, in the past, in all aspects, in relation to present developments and future hopes. It is the story of man in time, an inquiry into the past based on evidence.
Since at least the 3rd century, the indigenous peoples were in contact with other Southeast Asian and East Asian nations. Fragmented ethnic groups established numerous city-states, performed by the assimilation of several small political units known as barangay, each headed by a dato or headman and answerable to a king titled Lakan and Raha. 200 AD, the Maitum jars are anthropomorphic jars that were depicting a child or human beings with perforation in red and black colors. Had been used as a secondary burial jars in Ayub Cave, Pinol, Maitum, Sarangani province. Each of the jars had a facial expression. Another example of funeral pottery in the Philippines. Marked the end of the Sahuyan culture, the people are merged into different chiefdoms, kingdoms, and thalassocracies. But the remnants of Sahuyun are still practiced by the native of Masbate. The artifacts can be found in Kalanay Cave, proof that the ancient Masbateños still practice the Sahuyun culture until 1500 AD. 220 to 260 AD, the period of 3 kingdoms in China, called Little Dark People, living in Anhui province in South China, were driven south by Han people. Some settled in Thailand, others went further south to Indonesians, Sumatra, Borneo. They were known as Etas, from whom Palawans, Batak tribe descended.
Muslim Arabs arrived at the Sulu archipelago and established settlements, which became mini-states ruled by a Datu. They introduced Islam in the southern parts of the archipelago, including some parts of Luzon, and were under the control of the Muslim Sultan of Borneo. They had a significant influence over the region for a couple of 100 years. The Malay Muslim remained dominant in this part until the 16th century.
Makers of history. We were made by history. That was a quote by Martin Luther King Jr., which is clearly stated the fact that the world has several meanings. The phrase might mean that society is dependent on the fast for fresh advancements, and that the new ideas in the current world are few and hard to come across. The praise might also indicate that we build on what past generations have taught us, and that history has greatly affected our decision. Hi, I'm Samantha Haramilla from Bachelor of Science in Criminology. We have 3 Filipinos who are continuously conducting their research. First, Renato Constantino. Renato Constantino is a Filipino historian known for being part of leftist tradition of Philippines historiography apart from being a historian. Renato Constantino said that Philippine history is a struggle. Why? Because history of the Philippines is the struggle of the peoples themselves against various forms of oppression from Spanish conquest and imperialism.
Engage in foreign service. Work in Philippine mission to the United Nations and Department of Foreign Affairs. Youngest editor of the university's student publication in Philippine Collegian. Inscribed the name in wall of remembrance at the Philippine Bantayog ng mga bayani. Wrote editorial columns criticizing Manuel Quezon that earns attention by responding in one of the speeches of the president. He worked as journalist during war and became intelligence team spying on the Japanese. Joined Philippine mission from 1946 to 1949 as executive secretary.
Felipe Lando Jano, known as the country's foremost cultural anthropologist during his lifetime, proponent of the core population theory of the Philippine of the Southeast Asia. The original people of the Philippines were the ancestors of the people known today as the Bugos-Israel.
Hinilawod, Western Visayan folk epic. The country's first and foremost cultural anthropologist. National artist Epsionil Jose Dam to him. Professor Emeritus at the Asian Center of the Philippines. Executive Director ng Full Land Research House Incorporation. Professor in University of the Philippines. Authored numerous books on various aspects of Filipino society and the culture.
Kay Agoncillo was a prominent 20th century Filipino historian. He and his contemporary Renato Constantino were among the first Filipino historians renowned from promoting a distinctly national point of view of Filipino history, national historiography. He was also an essayist and a poet.
Obtained bachelor degree in University of the Philippines in 1934. Published his seminal work, Revolt of the Masses, The Story of Bonifacio and the Katipunan. Chair of the History Department in UP from 1963 to 1964. The earliest known Humanin remains in the Philippines is the fossil discovered in 2007 in the Calao Caves in Cagayan. The 67,000-year-old find predates the 47,000-year-old Tabon Man, which was until then the earliest known set of human remains in the archipelago. The Murillo Velarde map, regarded as mother of all Philippine maps, is considered as the holy grail of Philippine cartography. The 1734 Murillo Velarde map shows the entire Philippine archipelago in such detail that it is also considered as the first ever scientific map of the Philippines.
These are the types of copies of Murillo Velarde map. The 17 Library of Congress copy. In 1734, National Library of Spain copy. 1744 Reduced Version, Boston Public Library copy. Replica of Mel Velarde acquired 1734 copy that he gave to the Philippine Army. And 1774 version of the map in Latin.
Hello, good day. I am Ira M. Herlego, a Bachelor in Science and Criminology student. So why do we need to study history? According to Dizon et al., 2011, and citing Perry, 1999, that learning about your past means to profit by the present and use it to fuel to your future. And in that case, you are now understanding the present. Appreciating our rich and varied heritage has a power to help our nation. And not only on a specific perspective, but in a broad perspective. Because heritage defines the uniqueness of everyone. Appreciating one's heritage requires reflection and observation so that you can now acquire a background for critical thinking. Let's go on classification of historical sources, and these classifications is divided into the primary sources and secondary sources. Let's go first to primary sources. According to centricity, primary sources are original materials. They are from the time period involved and have not been filtered through interpretation and evaluation. They are usually the first formal appearance of results in physical, print, or electronic format. They are present in original thinking, result a discovery, or share a new information. Or in the easiest way to describe, it is the best evidence. Here are some examples. Number 1, individual persons. Number 2, organized group or organizations. Number 3, established practices. Number 4, documents in their own original forms. Number 5, living organisms. Number 6, man-made material things. And lastly, the natural objects and phenomena. Next is the secondary sources. And according to centricity, they are interpretations and evaluation of primary sources. Secondary sources are not evidence, but rather commentary on and discussion of evidence. It has been made sometime after the events, but usually by someone who was not there. Some of the examples are books, published articles, unpublished master's thesis, dissertations, and other studies, monographs, manuscript, and verbal or written data. I hope you learned something. Thanks for listening.